The Social Security Trust Fund is numbers in a computer. That's all it is. That's all actually any bank account is. They're just in the federal computer. If you study a little bit of modern monetary theory, like listen to some Stephanie Kelton videos on here, you'll see that modern monetary theory is a theory in the same sense that universal gravitation is. Governments create money and then spend it and then they tax. So it's not tax money that they're actually using to finance anything. And that means that if you worked in 1970, you got the same wages that you get today. But the productivity of labor is like 3 times what it was in 1970. So what happened to that 2/3 of what labor creates? How come you're not getting that? Because they're stealing it from you. You are working for not even 1/3 of the wealth that you create. That's just the way it is. And that's why you are a taxpayer. You are paying, even if you don't pay any actual taxes at the end of the year, you're being very heavily taxed. And of course, Amazon doesn't pay any tax at all. How about that? The oligarchy has made $1 trillion this year since the beginning of the COVID crisis. $1 trillion to the billionaires, to people who already had thousands upon thousands of times more money than anybody can actually earn. And now they want to tell you that the trust fund is bankrupt. And Trump is wanting to relieve you of paying payroll tax, and then he's going to say that, well, you didn't pay into Social Security, so you shouldn't be surprised now that the trust fund is bankrupt and we can't give you your Social Security. Sorry, you'll just have to die in the gutter when you're old and can't work anymore. Right. Okay, if you want to die in the gutter, or maybe something should happen to him. So, how did we determine how much money is in the trust fund? Well, you put money in and then you get interest on it. They're acting like it's a bank account, like when you were a kid and you go down to the bank and you just put your money in there and then they would pay you 2 pennies in interest or something. And now they're paying a fraction of a percent. Why are interest rates so low? Well, because the Fed sets them so low. Why does the Fed do that? Let me give you a hint on why the Fed does what the Fed does. Because Congress created the Fed and Congress can abolish the Fed. The Fed does what Congress wants. Oh. Congress can make the Fed pay any interest rate it wants. Congress can tell the Department of the Treasury to just throw an extra $1 trillion into the Social Security Trust Fund. And somebody sits down at a computer and does it this afternoon. No problem. That's all it is. That's all any of this money is numbers in a computer. So, when somebody starts telling you about when the Social Security Trust Fund is about to run out of money, they're lying to you. And you should get them out of office by all means. These people gotta go. And we have to get a government that understands that, for instance, your retirement, well, it's just a public obligation, that's all. Everybody works, and then when they get old and they can't work anymore, well, we drive on the highways that were made by people that are retired. We drive cars that they engineered or even built. We live in homes that they built. We're sitting here using computers that were designed by guys that are retired now. All of those geniuses at Intel that came up with the integrated circuits that power all this stuff. And it wasn't done, really, it wasn't done by private enterprise. This stuff was publicly financed. They did it with your money. Like the iPhone, The GPS technology, the batteries, the screens, all that stuff was financed. Most of it was financed through DARPA, which is the Defense Department. This stuff was publicly created, the same as pharmaceuticals are publicly created. They don't do their own research and development. Innovation doesn't happen in the private sector. It's happening in places that are financed with your money. And you are entitled, when you get old, to retire. And you're entitled, if you don't have anything to eat, to get food stamps. All they have to do is flick a couple of keys on a computer, and the money's there. So don't, when they try to tell you that they can give billions of dollars to Goldman Sachs and they can't finance your personal needs and the guy down the street, and that we can't have decent child care, forget it. We can afford all that stuff. Make them do it however you have to make them.